Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to the most useless mega projects in the world, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm flipping tired, so I'm just going to jump into this reaction. Links are in the description to my Instagram, my Twitter for those of you who want to follow me, same for my Patreon. Links are there for those who want to see extra reactions that get blocked from YouTube. But yeah, let's just get into this.
Did you know that there is a capital city that was built for millions of people but remains practically empty? And that the US wasted $17 billion for a mega project that was never even used and remains completely useless to this day? Today, we will explore 5 of the most useless mega projects in the world. Before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Top Luxury. Share your thoughts about these mega projects in the comments below.
That's a cool ass looking
Number
city.
5,
Shame it's fake.
Interstate H-3, Hawaii.
So this Hawaii? Okay.
Let's start with a
I mean, if this is it looks cool as hell.
breathtakingly scenic highway in the Aloha State, Hawaii. The 26-kilometer long Interstate H-3 passes through one of the most stunning landscapes in the world. It is
That
so
is beautiful,
stunning
man.
that there were genuine concerns of motorists stopping and creating traffic hazards. However, the highway is as controversial as it is beautiful. It was first proposed in 1960 with defense considerations in mind, as the highway would connect the Pearl Harbor Naval Base on the south side to the Marine Corps Air Station on the east coast. The announcement...
What is the biggest? Honolulu. That's the biggest city in Hawaii, isn't it? I mean, it's the capital, so I assume it's the biggest. What's the population? Wait, let's just see. I'm not going to be able to spell it, but Honolulu population. 348,000. Diamond Head. Oh, what am I looking at here? Don't know.
of its construction was immediately met with resistance from environmental groups, as well as native Hawaiians who were worried about the massive urbanization the project would bring. Environmental laws of the time and a change of route to protect the surrounding valleys delayed the plans indefinitely. 26 years later, the environmental hurdles were removed when the Congress exempted the project from environmental laws and cleared the way for construction to finally begin in 1989. The highway was finally opened in 1997, almost 37 years after it was
8 years since they started, but 37 years since they started planning
originally proposed. Interstate H-3 is often considered an engineering marvel because of the difficult terrain it is built on and the advanced technologies used in its construction.
It is crazy cool.
In addition to the numerous high-tech tunnels, the highway runs almost exclusively over viaducts to protect the local environment in the valleys.
Oh, there's tunnels going through the mountains as well. Flipping
below.
hell.
Decades of decay, route changes, and newer but more expensive technologies meant that it was completed 5 times over the original estimated budget.
Jeez.
The total cost of construction was $1.3 billion, which is about $50 million per kilometer, the most expensive cost per kilometer in the world. Despite the enormous budget, this beautiful highway isn't useful for everyone. Critics believe that it's a road to nowhere because the defense considerations of the 60s are no longer relevant, and the highway has no direct route to downtown Honolulu. Then there's the case of
I just want to see this map of Hawaii actually. So you got like city area, little livable areas here, here, through here, down here. And it's all sort of connected, isn't it? That's kind of interesting how it's all sort of pretty much connected and it goes up here. Is there any people who live around here at all? Is this where all the volcanoes, or some of the volcanoes are? I've never actually looked at like a map like this to do with Hawaii, man.
relevant, and the highway has no direct route to downtown Honolulu. Then there's the case of native Hawaiians, a majority of whom refuse to use the H-3 to this day.
Goddamn.
They consider it to be cursed, as many religiously significant cultural sites were destroyed during its completion. The Interstate H-3 highway is certainly an achievement as far as megaprojects go. However, for certain native groups, it remains useless. At least it isn't completely abandoned, like the next project on
It
our
is so
list.
cool though, bro. This view is crazy. Like living here, imagine having this view before this road is built. Obviously, I'm guessing these people living here were like, "Oh, don't build it here, please don't." But it is still really like awesome to look at, man. Just in general, this whole area looks incredible. Flipping hell.
Number 4. Ciudad Real Central Airport, Spain. Spain
I've been
is one of
past
the
this before.
prime
It's so
travel
beautiful,
destinations in Europe, and that was a key consideration when the idea for the Ciudad Real Central Airport was conceived. It was tipped to be the go-to destination for holiday travelers within Spain, as well as international visitors. The vision for this new airport was to make it an alternative to the already heavily overcrowded main airport in Madrid. The new airport had one of the top 5 longest runways in Europe and could serve 2 million passengers a year. That's a relatively low number compared to Madrid's 70 million passenger capacity. However, expansion plans were already in motion to boost the capacity up to 10 million annually. So, when it finally became operational in 2009, the $1.3 billion expense might have seemed justified. However, all these plans came to a grinding halt in 2012 when the company behind the project filed for bankruptcy. The problems began with the location of the project. While it was called the Central Airport, it wasn't central in any way, as it was located 200 kilometers away.
Wait, what? That's so damn far away from Madrid. What's even the point?
From Madrid. This compounded problems as most of the passengers avoided traveling for hours to get to the remote
I feel like anyone could just sort of assume that isn't a good idea, or how far it is from like anything.
location, and most big airlines preferred to carry out flight operations from the capital. So, within the first year of opening, the newly built airport was reduced to a single small-time airline. With no major airlines to attract passengers, the airport had accumulated a $350 million debt by 2012.
Flipping out.
Unsurprisingly, it went into receivership and was put up for auction in 2013. The airport was even popularized as an abandoned location by the hit British TV show Top Gear in 2014. After multiple auctions fell through, including an outrageous $12,000 offer, the airport was finally sold to new owners in 2019.
10,000? 100,000 times less than it cost.
The
Bloody
Spanish
hell.
airport that cost €1 billion to build has attracted a bid of just €10,000. Ciudad Real's La Mancha Airport opened in 2008,
That is
only to go
brutal, man.
bankrupt and close by 2012.
As businesses crashed and profits dwindled during the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ciudad Real airport got a lifeline. With little hope of passengers returning, the new owners reinvented the airport as a home for grounded planes, given its dry climate, long runway, and spaciousness. By August 2020, there were 65 airplanes parked on the airport, with expansions underway to provide a storage facility for over 300 aircraft. This new storage approach gave the airport a much-needed business opportunity. However, all the stored planes will eventually be gone once the pandemic is finally over and the return of normal flight operations remains elusive. This billion-dollar megaproject remains effectively useless for passengers around the world.
What a damn failure, man. God damn.
Number 3. Naypyidaw, Myanmar. Next up is another megaproject that made it to Top Gear. Unfortunately, this isn't just a remote airport, it's
Just
the
Top
capital
Gear.
of Myanmar.
Oh my... I mean, this isn't to do with the video, but this is a crazy view again, man. It's Myanmar, but whereabouts in Myanmar is this? Oh my days, this is one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
A new capital that was built from scratch. Myanmar's former military leadership started building a new capital in secret in 2002.
What? Wait, so here it's 1999, there's nothing here.
Myanmar's former military leadership started building
Wait, they literally made like lakes as well.
a new capital in secret.
I assume they made them, unless it was just something to do with the climate. Oh shit. This is quite cool. I'm going to be really interested to see about this one. I love when like sort of cities are built and then you sort of learn why and then you see how it failed, how it prospered and all that kind of
In
stuff.
2002. The shifting of a country's capital isn't unheard of, as many countries including Brazil,
I know what happened
Egypt,
there.
and Pakistan have done so in the past. In November 2005, Myanmar's leader announced his decision to the public, but he kept the name of a new capital a secret. It was 4 months later when he finally revealed the name, Naypyidaw, which literally means the king's residence. The reason for this sudden shift of capital
The ego.
wasn't clear. some speculated that the military leadership was fearful of an attack from the sea, while others thought it was shifted on the advice of astrologers. However, a lot of it had to do with the former capital, Yangon. Yangon is home to 7 million people, and the city is said to have reached its infrastructural limits, and its population is set to double by 2050. Moreover, the coastal city was established as the capital during British rule to benefit the British Navy, so it made sense for Myanmar to shift the capital to a more central location. The new project was built swiftly, and to this date, the successive governments have poured $4 billion into the city. Naypyidaw seemingly has everything to attract.
To be fair, for a city, that doesn't seem like quite a lot. That seems like quite a small amount. I mean, it's a lot of money, but in terms of like building a city,
visitors, a 20-lane highway, over 100 luxury hotels.
That's cool.
Divided into 3 hotel districts, golf courses, museums, and even a 99-meter-tall replica of a landmark originally situated in Yangon. But there's one essential component that remains missing.
People. Just abandoned, isn't it? God damn.
The population.
What is the point?
The new capital is home to less than 1 million residents, most of which reside in the suburbs that were present even before the city became the capital. But why does no one want to live there? A lingering gap in health facilities, lack of quality educational institutes, and economic opportunities mean that most of the population is reluctant to make the city a permanent home. So, the city often paints the picture of a deserted place and is often referred to as a ghost town. The incredible 20-lane highway is practically empty. Traffic congestion is unheard of.
You've got a 20-lane highway where there's no one living in your city. Like, what is the point? Or everyone's living in the suburbs when they don't go to these sort of areas ever. Like, god damn. It'd be crazy to go here though. I wonder if there's any flights.
And at
there
times,
must be,
a
right?
single automobile is caught drifting along the tremendous road.
That's so
The city
weird.
has an airport that can handle 3.5 million passengers every year. But on a busy day, a dozen people will actually use it. The shopping malls are visited only by the diplomatic staff on weekends, while the
What?
hotel lobbies are mostly empty.
I can't understand why they would keep trying to, like, surely there's schemes to try and help people to move here. I don't know, this is weird, man. How can they even pay for this? 'Cause is Myanmar like, it's probably, I don't know how well off the country is, but like, you could put the money to so much better use. You to this. Like, there's a mall that literally no people go to, like, what?
Despite the apparent barrenness, there's a silver lining for the royal capital. It's built as a city of the future, and with the exploding population, Naypyidaw still has time for an inevitable redemption.
Yeah, I guess.
For now, it's arguably the world's strangest capital, and remains useless for much of the country's population.
That one is wild, man.
Number 2. Forest City, Malaysia.
It gets crazier.
We talked of an
What?
apparent ghost city, and next on our list is a green futuristic smart city that would rise from reclaimed land on 4 artificial islands and will be built around an artificial forest ecosystem.
Issue of this though, what happens when the sea levels rise, not raise, just all goes underwater, no? I wonder how they deal with that.
Forest City's location makes it an appealing bet for investors who are aiming to profit from its proximity to the independent city-state of Singapore.
Oh.
Singapore has the world's second busiest port and a thriving economy. The developers have already linked Forest City with Singapore through the Second Link Bridge, shortening the distance between the cities to just 20 minutes. Forest City will also have its own customs facility, enabling residents to move freely to Singapore and back.
That's quite cool.
The design is advertised to incorporate many green innovations. Forest City will feature buildings
And I would love to live somewhere like this, man. Oh my days.
with green rooftops and vertical gardens, providing a jungle experience. City streets will have a multiple layered design, with the lower layer for traffic and parking spaces, while the upper layer will feature parks, sports facilities, and transport hubs. The city will be powered exclusively with renewable energy and will be completed by 2035 at a cost of $100 billion.
I'm moving here, man. I don't even care. If I have money, because this is probably be like the new Monaco of the future. I don't know if it'll be a tax haven or not, but you know what I'm trying to say, like just a small city that's just so futuristic. And is Monaco even futuristic? I don't even think it is. But if I have the money, man, I'm moving here. And I probably won't have the money, so I'm not moving here. But if I do, best believe I am coming here.
One of the 4 proposed islands is close to completion, with 50 apartment buildings, golf courses, swimming pools, and beaches on board.
Bloody hell.
However, it's not all smooth sailing for this highly ambitious project. A multitude of economic and political hurdles are already hindering its progress. The project is being funded mainly through China, and Chinese residents virtually had a free pass to the city in the first few years of its construction. As a consequence, wealthy Chinese investors who couldn't afford the soaring prices of apartments in their own country rushed to Forest City.
China's got
By
crazy
2019,
money,
80% of the property owners were Chinese. Even the street signs were in Mandarin, and the few...
So yeah, it's going to be a very pricey place. Scrap my plans. I will not have any kind of money for this kind of situation.
Schools that opened in the area were offering Mandarin courses. The native Malaysians simply can't afford to buy these apartments as property prices are set with only the Chinese markets in mind. This influx of Chinese investors caused a public outcry, with opponents of the project calling it a new form of colonialism. So, after a change of leadership, the returning Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad banned foreigners from owning property in the Forest City. Many foreigners started leaving the city, and new investors were discouraged. The next major setback came in the form of the pandemic and the worldwide travel bans. Malaysia's movement control order meant that no new investors could move in. Lots of existing investors opted out of the project due to the uncertainty. So, by the start of 2020, less than 500 people were actually living in the residential developments, which is not a lot, considering that Forest City is designed for 700,000 people. The project has remained in flux ever since, with some salespeople claiming that fewer than 10 homes were sold at Forest City since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. Moreover, Country Garden laid off more than 1,000 of its Malaysian workers in the past year, signaling the epic downturn in the project's fortunes. Forest City was probably too ambitious to begin with, too futuristic to truly achieve, and too politically challenged to succeed anytime soon. It's safe to assume that despite the billions invested, Forest City is currently a useless megaproject.
How is that number one? Yucca Mountain nuclear waste. Seeing the number 2 and number 3, the fact that they aren't number 1, this is going to be a crazy one. I mean, they're all crazy, but this is going to be next level, man. So it's nuclear waste. So it's obviously like off that, it's going to be like a lot of money wasted. But yeah, we're going to just get into this, man.
Yucca Mountain Nuclear Waste Repository. We'll conclude this list with a megaproject that was planned in view of a sensitive global issue. Nuclear waste isn't talked about as much as other environmental problems. However, if not stored properly, it can be deadlier than anything ever witnessed since the advent of civilization. As of now, nuclear waste is stored above ground, near the power plants where it comes from. However, the scientific community agrees that the safest, permanent disposal solution is to store this hazardous waste deep underground. In the 1980s, US authorities set about finding a permanent solution to this growing waste problem. In 1987, Yucca Mountain in Nevada was identified.
Bro, Nevada seems to have everything. Is it Nevada where they've done all like the tests, the nuclear tests and stuff? It seems like because obviously most of it's just desert where no one lives. But I mean, if something goes wrong with these things that they're doing in Nevada, man, it's looking like a bad situation because everything bad just seems to be put here and just sort of left, sort of sit there and try and just try and forget about it. I don't know, is it Nevada or is it like New Mexico that I'm thinking of? Like, I swear, all these tests are done in this state.
Identified as the best available option. It was close to the USA's most used nuclear testing site and was away from any population centers. The plan was to deposit the waste from all over the country in a tunnel complex about 300 meters under Yucca Mountain. In addition to the isolated location, Yucca Mountain is made up of volcanic ash formed millions of years ago. It allows the Yucca Mountain to absorb any radioactive waste without crumbling or cracking. Yucca Mountain seemed like a great location for a repository on paper, but Nevadans were having none of it. The United States has over 100 operational and closed nuclear reactor sites in 34 states, but none of them were in Nevada. So, the congressional representatives and the general public vigorously opposed the idea of being the only nuclear dumping site in the whole country. Furthermore, question marks were raised over the official hydrological and geological surveys of the Yucca Mountain. Opponents believed that the site was unsuitable for a repository, as it runs the risk of contaminating a nearby water source. The water source flows into Amargosa Valley and is used by Native Americans who have lived in the area for centuries. Despite the opposition, the project won approval in 2002 and the Department of Energy resumed construction. However, Nevada's opposition only grew stronger. They contended that routine exposures during the transition will stigmatize Nevada's residents and affect tourism in the state. For the opposition, the only reason Nevada was getting the repository was because of its lower population.
How straight can this road be, but it's also so up and down, hilly? That's such a crazy ass picture.
And smaller representation in Congress. By the time Barack Obama took office, the whole project had become highly politicized, and in 2010, the Obama administration deemed the project unworkable and stopped funding it. 3 years later, a federal court ordered its resumption again, but there has been little progress since. The Biden administration has clearly stated that Yucca Mountain isn't a part of the country's plans anymore. Nevada seems to have won the battle after 4 decades. Decades of planning, legal troubles, and over $17 billion have gone into the Yucca Mountain project. But after all is said and done, it has never been used and remains a useless megaproject.
I guess why this is number one and the city ones aren't is because in future I assume those city places will start prospering and it will end up being beneficial in the long term. But for now, obviously, it's looking very bad for both of the city built ones, in terms of the money they spent and they've wasted on it. But yeah, this last one is obviously crazy. I mean, where is the nuclear stuff in the US stored at the moment? Is it just near the plants that they're at? Because it's I've never really thought about that. And the fact that the best solution is burying it underground seems like that could go very wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, but it seems like let me know if I'm I'm not educated on it, because to me that seems like it could go so damn wrong. If there's any leaks or anything or what. I mean, I guess security measures are so good that it wouldn't happen, but yeah, that seems kind of wild to me. Let's read the comments. As someone who lives in Hawaii, I can say the H-3 is far from useless. It is the chosen route for most people to get from one side of the island to the other. Looks cool as well. The airport would make sense if they built a fast train straight to Madrid. Such journey could take about 45-50 minutes, better than driving a car and parking. Something like train from London, Liverpool to Stansted. As someone who uses the H3 every day, I didn't know the history, but I'll say traffic on it sucks, which means it is in use, right? Also, the show Magnum PI uses the H3 quite often per episode. It's disappointing that those projects were abandoned. Yeah, it's sad when projects are abandoned because some have such potential, but yeah, I mean, there's reasons behind it as to why. But yeah, this is a really interesting video. I do enjoy these sort of topics. So, I mean, if you want more of these reactions, just suggest them in the comments. But yeah, until next time, subscribe. Peace.